Hello, beautiful people. This is Bamby Salcedo, greeting you and sending you so much love and appreciation. Before we start, I want to acknowledge the land where we're standing on today and the land where you may be. I am here in Tangbalan in Los Angeles, and in this time we're together, I want to invite the four elements that ignite our being. I hope that our conversation sparks the fire that we all have within and that inflames all of our listeners to understand and to take action. I hope that our conversation also let the water flow to help our conversation and thoughts to flow freely with no limitations or barriers. I hope that the wind inspires for all of us to deliver the message that our people needs to hear and that it penetrates our hearts and minds and that it continues to provide the strength that we all need to continue to move forward in this world. With much humbleness, I want to call upon Mother Earth, who continues to provide for all of us to exist. We ask our Mother Earth to feed us with strength and power, and that we feed the soul of the people who are listening. And it is with great honor that we invoke the spirits of our ancestors to guide us and to give us the strength, intelligence, and the tenacity for us to continue to move forward in this world and to continue to fight for what is right for all of our peoples. Today, I have the great privilege to have an amazing friend, an amazing colleague. I want to say mi hermano en la lucha, um, a beautiful and amazing soul that you do want to get to know. Mario Ceballos, who is the president of HONOR PAC, which is a political action committee that focuses specifically on endorsing and basically putting people who support LGBTQ, particularly LGBTQ Latinx people, into office, into political offices. So Mario, thank you for being here for us to have this conversation.
Well, Bambi, I gotta tell you, I couldn't be. There's nowhere in the world that I like to be in this moment, but just to be here with you. And I know that um, we're both on this journey for justice, for joy, for freedom, and I'm lucky that I get to spend time with you when we need to get a little rest. Come together and charge up our energy, feed our body, and even those walks that we take together are really special moments. And for people who do know you, I'm sure they understand just the magic that happens just being with you and how you give clarity and purpose to me, both as a person, as a human being. It really purpose and clarity to um, having a life that hopefully is contributing more than it's taking away. And so I really appreciate being here. And, my love for you is very deep. And I
No,
just love you.
of course, I love you too, and I hope that you do know that. And I appreciate you so much
Thank you.
because, this is really truly a special moment because it's not just, that we're siblings in the movement, right? But we have to build this connection, right?
Mm,
That I also want to say I consider you my sibling
mm.
and, and part of my life. But, you know, I want to ask you, um, who is Mario Ceballos? Like for the people who are out there listening
Yeah.
to us and watching us, who is Mario Ceballos? Where Mario come from? How is it that Mario gets to be, in this moment?
Yeah. Um, Well, can I do something
Of course, you can
before
do
we
whatever
start?
whatever you
Before
want.
we start, I just want to tell everyone. Um, I hope all of you have been, and if you haven't, there's a national petition going on, and it's a petition to encourage uh, Newsom of California to pardon Bambi. And so all of you need to go to pardonlabambi.com. I think it's a really important way of ensuring that our national treasure, our sister in the fight, continues to lift all of us up. So please go to pardonlabambi.com and sign up and let the governor know how important she is to us, not just to our Latino LGBTQ community, but the country. And so now I can go to your question.
That's thank you for doing that. But this section is not about me.
I well,
I appreciate that, and that's just to to speak of the nature of who you are as a
yeah,
person.
thank you.
But please,
Yeah.
tell us
So
who you are,
yeah, so who I am is
where you're from, and all that good stuff.
de dónde vine, qué me
Sí,
pasó, y todo.
todo.
I'm gonna share everything.
Sí, sí.
Uh,
Calzón quitado,
Calzón quitado y brasier a medias.
peluca y todo.
Uh-huh. It's funny because I think that is a question that a lot of people have asked me. Just because I feel that um, people see me wearing different hats and they, make assumptions. And, on the professional level, I do something very different than what I do with HONORPAC, but people think that I'm involved, that everything aligns, to my identity. And in reality, like many of us, we are dynamic in who we are and all that.
You are
I know me to go. Thank you.
of course.
Thank you.
But
But
where are
I,
you from?
but where I'm from is I'm originally from Guadalajara, Mexico, and down, yeah. So yo sí soy tapatío, nomás para decirles porque a veces
Hello.
hello, pero so I grew up in Guadalajara, came here around the age of 11, and we came here um, because my father had been here for a while. And interestingly enough, um, we were one of the lucky families, I think, that ended up coming into the United States. And I mentioned this because we were the only documented family in the neighborhood where we landed, which was originally Lincoln Heights. And so um, coming here documented but surrounded by Chicanos and immigrant families, many of whom were not, either they were mixed status or just all the whole family was undocumented, gave me a different experience of, how, where I stood. Not so much in this country, because I think in general, I was seeing like many others. Here's another immigrant. There's otro mexicano que llegó. Es otro mojado, which didn't matter. But what it did is that um, it gave us the opportunity to also go back to Mexico, go back to Guadalajara, Teocaltiche, Jalisco, if somebody knows. That's where my grandparents are from, Los Altos. And so I was always coming and re-experiencing sort of the immigrant journey. I felt that way. And but what was so amazing too about my experience is that my mom, who is amazing, I think you've met her,
Of course.
wanted to make sure that being legal in no way put us above anybody else. So we actually were in the closet about our immigration status for many years,
Yeah.
because
Peer
that
pressure.
yeah,
Peer pressure.
right, peer pressure. My mom says somos iguales, and I think that the lesson that she was trying to teach us is obviously don't be you're not better than anyone,
Of course.
in that you need to connect to people even when your experience is not the same. We are human beings, and that's what it is. Now, looking back at it, we were the only family that, school would end on a Friday, and by the next week we were in Guadalajara. So, you know,
Like people would
every
catch on.
people would catch on. So, but I think that it helped. It formed me in many ways about the importance of not only protecting my dignity as a human being, but standing in and protecting and joining those whose dignity was also going to be attacked. So, anyways, I
Mhm.
that was really an important foundation. And so, landed for a bit in Lincoln Heights in Los Angeles, and then we moved to Highland Park. I went to high school in Highland Park. For those of you from LA, I'm a Panther.
La Pantera.
La Pantera. And and so, um, to me, high school was a really important period of my time because I also um, just the relationships that I have with some of my friends go back to junior high school and high school, and
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
they're really,
Yeah.
really amazing.
Yeah.
From that, I have two friends that Paul, who's a Chicano Korean, and Juan, who was somebody from Guatemala. And we just rode the ride together, never saying to one another that we were gay or came out, but we knew how to connect. And we knew that we had I think, a language
Right.
that nobody else understands except
Like the
LGBT.
gaydar, the gaydar.
The gaydar. Yeah, it's the language
Sí, 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 sí.
of the
El
palomas.
caminadito.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Exactamente. Something gave it away, right?
Yeah, right, right. There
But
was like a mutual understanding.
there's a mutual understanding, that. But also there were people outside of that circle, which, were also part of the network of support, which is what we see often in the allies that we have around us, right?
Right.
And so, or the extended family, whether it's the one that our blood family or our chosen family. So you always have circles of support. And so, I went to Occidental College, and then I started my career there. I also, parallel to that, is that I came out in college during the time where being diagnosed with HIV could still be a possible death sentence.
Right. You're like coming out, it was like a correlation. You're gay, you're gonna get HIV.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. And also, and for me, um, part of the blessings that I have is that I came from a family where I was not rejected. Nunca me rechazó mi familia.
So beautiful.
Yeah. And so, those are but, and, and to be honest, when I told my mom, and, she was
How
very
was that
accepting.
moment?
Well, the thing is that for my mom, really it was a moment of fear and sadness
Of
because
course,
she
because of
said,
the era.
well, and also because she said, many people are going to look at you, are going to judge you, not knowing who you are,
Yeah.
what's the
Which is
character,
which isn't true.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. They won't know your character, what she saw, the great things about me, the beauty of it, and all
Right.
that, and that she couldn't protect me.
Right.
But she sort of said, I need you to understand that this is difficult for me for those reasons.
Of course.
And I'm sure this is something that we all get to experience. But um, so I was,
But it was in a supportive way.
100%,
What
100%.
happens a lot of times to many of us, right? Like from that come from Latino families specifically, right? Like
Mhm.
that I am sure most of those parents have those feelings, right? Like and it's sort of like that fear,
Mhm.
but instead of being supportive, what they do a lot of times is like they reject you,
Mhm.
right? Because I don't want to deal with any of that. I don't want to be
Mhm.
dealing with the judgment that I'm going to get from family,
Mhm.
from society as a whole, right?
Right.
And so, what oftentimes tends to happen is that
Yeah.
we many of us end up on the streets,
Right.
and so that's beautiful that
Yeah.
you were supported in that.
I was, and I mentioned my three friends that to this day, are part of my life, and Juan in particular, had a very different experience.
Mhm.
Not only, did his family reject him, he also came out of a religion that was
Mhm.
very rigid,
Restricted.
homophobic,
Mm.
and he was a Jehovah's Witness, and
You know,
being
my father is a Jehovah Witness.
oh, he is okay. That's
But
something new.
yes, but
I, I'm
but yeah, so I
uh,
could relate to
you can
that.
relate.
Yeah,
It's a little intense.
too intense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. As my grandmother would say, los testículos de Jehová. Uh,
yeah,
but yeah, but Juan was actually excommunicated. So, being to be made invisible in such a way. And then, they were actually, for months, they actually would be um, stalking us as we,
right.
live
You
together.
were you were his support
Yeah,
during those times,
right.
and you were also like dealing with that,
Yeah, and so I got to see, where it was not my personal pain. I saw the pain of Juan.
but it was impacting you too.
Oh, yeah, it was, and it was sad because, it took away what I think was interesting is in the moment that this is happening, and this is just when we're rejected. We obviously feel the pain of rejection, but in retrospect, I now see is, all those people that rejected Juan were actually missed out on the beauty of Juan,
Of course,
missed out on those opportunities. And so for me, I hope that for anyone who's feeling rejected, to remember their value, their beauty, and really say, you know what, I have a gift to give that is wonderful. But if you reject me, you're really missing out on
right.
something powerful in that way. And so that's where my trajectory came. But along with the issue around homophobia and lack of access for HIV care and treatment, there was also a very strong anti-immigrant
Of
fervor.
course, yeah.
227 in California was a horrible proposition that passed. So I felt that both my personal growth, my professional growth were completely aligned or in sync to my political or active civic engagement on so
Yeah.
many issues. And so,
So
I was also one of the uh, general, there was an organization called Viva, which is, again, lesbian Latino arts organization that
when was that?
I want to say was in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Don't
Like,
be asking my
like
age.
no, well, no.
I just kidding.
I think just for
Yeah,
historic
yeah. So it
context,
was really around in the I'm gonna say mid, maybe late 90s. And I'm not somebody who needs to be exact. I just know that
right.
it happened and it
You
was
were part of
beautiful.
that.
And I was part of it. And I was general coordinator for a number of years where we were able to actually get grant funding through the US Conference of Mayors
Mhm.
to hire gay. In this case, it was a lesbian and three other gay Latino men to engage in HIV education through performance. And so, um, this was an opportunity that helped us, do our part in educating people about HIV and, but also about understanding who we were, that we're just, as much, we are your brothers, we are your sisters, we are people who you actually have around your family, but you
Yeah.
might not know it. And the playwright for many of these for the Viva plays is was Luis Alfaro, who is an amazing playwright now recognized all over the United States. He's um, he got the MacArthur Genius Award, and so um, this, and among others, we had painters like Miguel Angel Reyes, who many people know, or
And all these people were part of Viva.
and all these people are part of Viva. We have Eduardo Lucero, who's an amazing designer, Luis Verdad, another amazing designer, and many others. But what was interesting is that nobody, we were creating our own path, creating our own, with the intention of always validating our existence. And I say that
Well, at the
because
same time, educating people.
it's the same time educating
Yeah.
people. And so, many I mean, I remember, walking with ACT UP and, you know, stopping traffic at, in the Hollywood freeway and seeing the headlights of cars coming to you just to bring awareness to the injustice and, that was happening around access to HIV care and
Yeah.
all that. So, as I continued to do that, ultimately, I ended up um, being introduced to a small group of people.
Which that was when you're sort of like more political
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, because I want to talk about that. I want to
yeah,
talk about politics and I want to talk about honor pack and
yeah. And just to tell you, I mean, I ended up one day being asked to if I would join a small group of people, and that small group of people were the individuals who ended up founding Honor Pack.
oh, amazing.
And so I became one of the founding members, and Honor Pack was created um, because we as LGBT Latinos, that in when we were just starting our careers, we were still contributing to causes. We were making sure that we showed up physically, actively, and even gave up our money. To the extent that we needed to support that movement. Sadly, we didn't see that the mainstream LGBT organizations were necessarily paying attention to our LGBT Latino leaders. And we realized that, why are we waiting for somebody else to do the work that really belongs to us?
Right.
That we're going to form, we're going to create our voice, we're going to make sure we sit at the table. And, from there, we started Honor PAC as a political action committee that began to endorse LGBT and support LGBT Latino candidates, and of course, we also understood that allies were going to be part of the group.
Of course. So just for the people who don't know, what does a political action committee do?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So in our political system, you have, you have parties, the Democrat, the Republican, the Green parties, and all that. And so that those are bodies, political bodies that advance agendas, and and obviously are important in what direction country is going to go.
Yes.
Political action committees are not connected to a political party, although they may have affinity to one. But what we are doing is that political action committees have a particular issues that they want to advance. And so, it's a great thing in some cases, and it's a horrible thing in some cases,
Yes.
right? But so this PAC was committed to advance and support our leaders surfacing from our community, and leaders who also wanted to advance the mission and the pillars on which Honor Pack stands for. It. Just to let you know, the decision to name ourselves Honor Pack
Mhm.
is because the word honor is the same in English and in Spanish.
Right.
It's spelled the same, it means the same, and but so for all of you who want to know about Honor Pack, visit us at honorpack.org. We have been, we've raised over close to $500,000 to support candidates, not just in California or where we started, but now we're doing it across the country. And in that, in fact, as we're preparing for the next election cycle, we have elections coming up pretty soon, and we already have over, I think, close to 100 candidates wanting our endorsement. When we started, we were chasing people to say, would you like our endorsement, please? But, I think that because we were both a mission driven political action committee, that we were a nonpartisan committee, I think that it positioned us very differently. I do believe that there are people in the political spectrum where I may not agree on them on many, many issues, but they are doing what they need to do for their community, and in some cases they merit our endorsement, whether they're Democrats or Republicans or Green Party. And I think that that clarity of focus that we've had as a political action committee has helped us move the movement, and more importantly, help build and support the leaders that we now have in positions of power and policy making. I mean, we talk about, even within our founding members, we have Ricardo Lara, who is
So Ricardo Lara was
one of the founding members. He is now the California Insurance Commissioner for the state of California, a national figure. He's very committed to obviously LGBT, Latino, immigrant issues, but he also is a leader in environmental issues,
Yeah.
and is putting California in the forefront. We have now in Congress the mayor, Robert Garcia of Long Beach. And we have David Bella, and we have others, women that we've been able to endorse and support and all that.
Through the life of Honor Pack, do you have an idea of how many people Honor Pack has endorsed that are currently in office?
Well, I wouldn't be able to tell you who's currently in office, just because there's, people,
Elections
it happen, and they say, but I would say that, and I'm gonna guess that it's probably gonna be over 500, if not more, individuals that Honor PAC has helped support and helped in their political trajectory.
Mario, we have been talking about so many great things, and thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all of the amazing richness of the history and your history as, as you come to be who you are and what Honor Pack has done and everything else, right? That we're living crazy political moments,
Yeah.
right? And let's not get into
Mhm.
all the craziness, but as Honor Pack is evolving and as Honor Pack is, doing the amazing work that they're doing, um, oh, I should say that we're doing,
That we're
right? Because I'm
doing.
part of it too. Um, what else do you think needs to happen for all of us to have a better understanding of what politicians need to do
Mhm.
in order for us to have a better world?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, just to immediately respond to your question, is that you have to engage and you have to activate in whatever possible way you can. And it doesn't mean that because you're
What are some of those?
and they will be there. So if even if you're undocumented or not, if you're undocumented, get involved in campaigns. Help the candidate, help the initiatives, answer phones. Nothing prevents you from becoming involved.
Mhm.
Encourage your family who can, those who are able to vote, make sure that they vote and
Like
they
encourage
register.
people to
Yeah, and tell them, I really, it's important that you register to vote, that you vote, that you contribute if you can financially or contribute through your time. Now, part of it is that many elections are actually decided on voting day. Many elections are won by very few votes. And people think that the margins are great. No, it could be one vote that
That
can
makes a
help,
difference.
that makes a difference and can make sure that your candidate or the person you want to see in a leadership position in your community, whether it's the school board or the city council, county, state, federal positions, that you need to understand you have a voice here. And so
So, on that note, then how do we, because one of the things that I seen, right, like time and time again, and like I'm sure people also like feel this way, is that once elected, like we support elected officials to get into office, and then once they get into office, like they're like too far to reach. Like
Mhm,
they
mhm,
they don't necessarily do
no,
what you thought
yeah,
they were going to do.
yeah,
So how do we hold them accountable?
right. But and let's also say, I mean, I think that the point you bring up is important. you know there will be disappointing times from the people you supported, but you always have to remember, they may not have done exactly what I wanted or I wish they needed to do, but are they moving us in the direction that we need to be in? Because once you become an elected official, you have to represent the whole constituency.
Right.
And at that point, you know, the fact that, I mean, I'll tell you, I have a love-hate relationship with politics. And and
I
and
think you're not the only one.
right. And so what I just want to say is do not get discouraged and stay engaged. And yes, keep your elected officials accountable. Right now, just to really talk about what I think is very important. I truly believe that our democracy is in danger.
Of course.
And I think that no election will be more consequential than the one coming up in November 2024. And
Well, that's
if
what they say every time.
no, this is an
Oh, it is
election
crazy.
where we might have a possible dictator who already
Again.
said, again,
Yeah.
who already said a platform for retribution.
Mhm.
It is a candidate that Republicans have not seen ever.
Yeah.
And I think that for those of us out there need to know that we need to get involved, become active in whatever way. Don't let your status, your immigration status be the reason, because it's an excuse only. And so you need to be able to find ways to support candidates, campaigns, propositions, and think about do this as if your life depended on it.
Of
Because you
course.
know what?
Well, the lives of our people depend.
Our lives depend on it. And so the minute that Roe versus Wade was overturned, it signaled not just to women or to individuals who would like to have or not have children, or those are decisions that are very personal. But that the minute that Roe versus Wade was overturned, it signaled to LGBT people, to
Yeah.
immigrants, that something
This
else
is
was
like a
going on.
domino effect.
It's a
Right?
domino
Yeah.
effect. So this is a very consequential election.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, we want for people to be encouraged to make sure that they participate in a political way in some kind of way, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
in the political field in some kind of way. Um, there's a lot that needs to be done. There's a lot for us to talk about.
yeah.
Um, and we're going to continue our conversation at some point.
Mhm.
But I want to thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your intelligence with us. You have so much richness that we want to learn more. And so, but for this time, we're gonna, we're
And
gonna
here,
end here.
uh,
Beautiful people. Thank you so much, Mario. Um, and we want to thank you, beautiful people, for tuning in, for sharing space with us, and for learning with us today. Our hope is that we have given you a little bit of knowledge, joy, but also that you feel inspired um, through the words that Maya shared with us in our session today. We're really hoping that you use your power to change the world and that you influence others to do the same, as you said, right? And always, always remember to live free, to live out loud, and to be fearless. With much love and respect, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
The Fearless People podcast is a product of Bamby Salcedo and is produced by Mejia TV and can be found in all major podcast platforms. You can support this podcast by liking this episode and subscribing to it. You can also support my retirement by rating this podcast and following me on social media. Thank you so much.